Museum in Long Beach, California. The famous 1955 Mercedes Gullwing, 1986 Benz patent motor car with a tiller steering wheel, the replica of the original Mercedes. It's so funny having the motor right there by your legs. Also 1886 Daimler motor carriage.
My camera's just taking a picture of this.
Here's their legacy of firsts throughout history of automotive. So this is a 1955 monocoque Mercedes 300 SLR. It looks like there's one headlight on the right, but it's really the air intake.
This is a 1955 300 SLR R, 196R. This car was last raced by a 1.5 season were 2.5 liter cars, and that's 55. You can push it in certain locations on the car.
It's all magnesium.
Very, very easy. So,
3 liter engine.
Loss 722. That's called a W196.
That's very odd for a sort of post-war sports car to feature this particular configuration. However, the engineers did a lot of testing. If we look at the wall over here, you can kind of see the predecessors, 1914 French Grand Prix. We've got the W150 or 125 on the wall up there as well, the streamlined version. All of them. Yeah, the Lewinhout Coupe up on the left-hand corner there. As opposed to a battery ignition system. But the most uncommon thing is it uses desmodromic valves. Probably the most famous case of that is Ducati uses that, and the car has no valve.
Sponsored by Marlboro and Mobil. So this is their showroom. I guess all these 300 SEL have the suitcase in the back. I guess they're all going somewhere. New version of the Gullwing.
With no changes whatsoever. We also, sometimes people ask us, well, do you improve on things? And we say no. We have faith in the fact that the people recognize the cars.
So this is the newer version of the 1954-55 Gullwing.
And so he put it on Craigslist, and so my wife and I looked at it and thought, that's kind of interesting, very unique. And this is right when we were about to start building this building, and you know, Mike and I talked about it and we said, well, it's really not practical to do that now, and so I think things can be easily repaired, but meant to very much last a very, very long time.
Surface dyed leather, it could pass that around. So it is done in the same manner that leather back in the day was produced in. So surface dyed, vegetable dye, I think, right? Vegetable dye?
Yeah.
Vegetable dye. And you know, and we always say it's not like modern leather. You know, modern
minus the engine, which is out at the dyno right now. This is kind of the remainder of what needs to be assembled to finish the car. So we always say when the tables are empty, we're done. The last car we did this to was actually a Roadster we did for Aaron Weiss. We just finished that. He had it on display at his collection a few weeks ago.
Roadster customer didn't really want a white car and chose anthracite. And he said, but I just want to change the color. I don't want to do the interior. I don't want to do anything else. And of course, the old rule is if you do one thing, whatever was left over looks 10 times worse, right? Because it doesn't really, it's not.
Because that stamping is the original block. We've even seen at the time, let's say it's 1966, and you needed a new engine for your Gullwing, they would ship when they were
You know, and the thing for us, you know, you can always say,
with a
1935
white
Mercedes.
roof, white leather, white carpet with red piping. It was the tackiest thing we've ever seen.
From Switzerland.
So the customer said, "We got to change. We got to make it black. It would look way, way better black." So we painted, stripped it to bare metal, repainted it black. It had big double white walls on it. We took those off, put the double rivet Michelins on, respray, and put it back together again. So that's kind of where we're at with this particular car. Challenging when a lot of the hardware has been changed.
so that it looks good in all lighting conditions.
You're changing the lighting conditions for the paint shop.
We put it under this light because we can actually look at the beam with the perimeter. We can look at a light as it makes a linear line across the paint, and that'll allow us to see if there's a little dip, if there's a little orange peel, we can see it better, and then we can go in and we can actually adjust the color temp. So we can go from a warm light, like you would have at sunlight, all the way to more of an artificial lighting at like 6,600 Kelvin. This also helps us with the color matching process. So we have, this is all, and you look in like the front fender and the back fender and the door, they're all different silvers. This is just one sample, and every one of these is metallic silver. So there's the shades within the shades within the shades, and dialing in that color and getting it just right. I mean, to the normal person, and so there it was sitting in
SL.
LA area, Orange County.
But it was the second time they contacted us.
Yeah.
The first time they contacted us.
1520. Back then, our nomenclature was based on horsepower, your taxable and your actual. So it's 15 taxable horsepower, 20 actual horsepower. This was the bottom end of the spectrum for us. In a way, it's like a really fancy Model T. So it's got a inline 4-cylinder. This is an F head as opposed to a T head, so it does have overhead intake valves, but in-block exhaust valves. It's a 4-speed gated transmission with shaft drive.
If they, it's not a battle we can see.
A little bit.
There was a fire inside that Mercedes that melted the engine and the battery, burned through the hood. The whole melted battery.
All 3.5s are low grill, and then there's low grill 6s and high grill 6s. And the lower grill
Acronym for engineering German office or something like that, with ex-Mercedes-Benz engineers and Porsche engineers that produced bespoke one-off cars in the early 90s. So they produced a car called the Imperator. Imperator looked like what we made as a prototype car, C111. This car was the final car in the series. It's called the Commendatore, and it's a reference to Enzo Ferrari 120 engine and mid-engine. Trouble is, the company, as any small company, is at risk. They did not survive, and they made one prototype.
It's a V12 combination Mercedes and Porsche engine. It starts off with a 1940 Buick 4-door convertible sedan, Rolls-Royce Corniche convertible. So this is the 1929 L29 Cord Roadster rumble seat. Similar car to Frank Lloyd Wright's car. This was one of the first front-wheel drive cars just before Ruxton.